Hello friends, welcome to lecture number 9 of unit number 3 Cryptography and Public Key Infrastructure. Myself Nikul Jaiswal, lecturer in Computer Engineering, Sri KG Polytechnic, Bharuch. Let's have a quick recap of our previous lecture. So in the previous lecture we have discussed the hashing. So normally we use the hashing to check the integrity of the message or to store the password. So in the hash function, what the sender will do, it will take the message and it will give the message as an input in the hash function, and the hash function will produce the fixed length hash value, and that hash value will be appended with the message, and that message will be sent to the receiver. Now what the receiver will do is receiver will extract the hash value from the message, and it will again recalculate the hash value from the received message, and after that it will compare the recalculated hash value and received hash value. If both the values are same, then receiver can identify that the unauthorized modification of the message has not been done. If the received hash value and the calculated hash value does not match, then it may be possible that the unauthorized modification has been done in between the transmission of the message. So that was the hash function. After that we have seen the several properties of the hash function. So in the properties there are mainly four properties. First is it must be easy to calculate the hash value. Then second property is it must be infeasible to produce the message from the hash value. Then if the message, third property is if the message changes, then the hash value must be changed. And fourth property was for the two different message, the same hash value must not be present. So that was the properties of the hash value. And after that we have seen the application of the cryptographic hash function. So normally to check the integrity of the message or to check the integrity of the downloaded file, we use the hash function. Another major use is to store the password. We use the hash function. So normally most of the recent operating system do not store the password as a plain text, but they calculate the hash value of the password, and that hash value will be stored in the system. So that was the use of the hash value. Now today we will see one of the working of the one of the hashing function, that is also called as a secure hash algorithm. So SHA is the algorithm that has been used widely for the identifying the hash value of the message or the file. So there are several hash functions available, like SHA1, then SHA512, then MD5 and Whirlpool. So there are several functions available for the hash to calculate the hash value, but we will discuss the SHA1, that is secure hash algorithm 1, in detail, and we will see how the hashing will be performed by using this algorithm. So first of all, what is this secure hash algorithm? So SHA is a cryptographic hash function. So basically SHA is a family. So in this family there are basically 6 algorithms, starting with SHA0, SHA1, SHA224, 256, 384 and 512. So normally SHA1 to SHA512 are used in commercial purposes. So SHA is a cryptographic hash function which takes as input and produces a fixed length hash value known as a message digest. So there are basically 5 algorithms in the secure hash algorithm family. First is SHA1. So you can see here the properties of the algorithm. So in these properties, first is message digest size, that is the output of the hashing function. So this is the size of the hash value that has been produced by the algorithm. Then second property is message size. So length of the message that can be taken as an input in the algorithm. Then block size. So this is the size uh, in which the algorithm will process. So the process will be done on that block size. And next is the word size. So that is we will divide the block into the word and the number of steps. That means the total number of steps that will be performed for the calculating the hash value. So you can see here in the SHA1, the message digest size is 160. That means the hash value that has been produced by the SHA1, the size of that hash value will be 160 bits. So for SHA224, the size of the hash value will be 224. For the SHA256, the hash value, the size of the hash value will be 256 bit. For the SHA384, the size of the hash value will be 384, and for the SHA-512 the size of the hash value will be 512. So this is basically the output size. So when we calculate the hash value of some message or the file, the output will be the 160 bit or the 224 bit, 256 bit, 384 bit and 512 bit for the respective algorithm. So we are discussing the SHA-1 in detail. So that means the message digest size of the SHA-1 will be the 160. That means the size of the hash value produced by this algorithm will be 160 bit. The next is message size. So the message size will be less than 2 raised to 64 bits. So size of the message that has been taken by the SHA-1 algorithm, maximum size will be 264 bits, less than 264 bits. Then the block size will be 512 bit. So this message will be divided into the blocks of 512 bit. So there will be several blocks of 512 bits. Clear? So normally the function of the algorithm will take the 512 bit as an input at one time. Now next is the word size. That means this 512 bit will be divided into the word of 32 bits, and for that word the 80 operations will be performed. So number of steps, that means that same algorithm will be performed by the perform for the 80 steps, and the final output by the 80 step will be the input of the second block. Clear? So this is the properties of the SHA-1 algorithm. Now these are the various steps for the SHA-1 algorithm. So step 1 is padding, step 2 is append length, then step 3 will be the divide it input into 512 bit blocks, and step 4 will be the initialize chaining variable, and the step 5 will be process block. So we will see all the steps in detail. So let's start with the first step, that is the padding. Now in the padding, in the SHA-1, the input block must be a the size of the message must be a in the multiple of the 512 bits. Clear? So we are you can see here we take the block size is a 512. Clear? So we divide our message into a particular block size. So in the SHA-1 we divide our message into the block size of 512. So the message, the length of the message must be a multiple of 512 bit. So if the message is not let's suppose if message is not in the multiple of 512 bit, for that we will add the some fake or the fake bits to make the message as a multiple of 512 bit. So that is called as a padding. So add padding to end of the original message in such a way that the length of the message is 64 bits short of multiple of 512. So this last 64 bit will be used to store the length of the message, because we are adding the paddings. So we need to identify the actual size of the message. So first of all, let's suppose original message size is 1000 bit. So we will add the 472 bits. So fake 472 bits we need to add. So the message will be 1472 bits. So why we take the 1472 bits? Because the last 64 bit will be used to store the size of the actual message. Clear? So you can see here, because if we add the 64 bit in the 1472 bit, we will get the 1536, which is the multiple of 512. So 512 into 3 is equal to 1536. Clear? So how the padding will be done? We will take the message, we will add the fake bit in such a way that the size of the message with the padding will be the sort of 64 bits of multiple of 512 bits. So let's suppose our original message is 1000 bit, we will add the 472 bit, so message will be our 1472 bit. So this is our actual message 1000 bit. We will add the padding 472 bits. So how the padding will be done? First will be 1 and rest of all the bits will be 0. So in the 472 bit padding, first bit will be 1 and remaining 471 bits will be a 0. Clear? Now second step is append the length. So this is our message, this is our padding. So this is the 1000 bit message, this is the 472 bit padding, and this 64 bit, last 64 bit will be used to store the length of the message. So length of this message only, because we are adding the padding in message. So we need to identify what is the actual size of the message and what is the size of the padding. So this will help us to identify the size of the message. So what before the process of hashing, what we will do, we will take the message, we will add the pads, and we will add the length of the actual message. So this whole block will be used for the hashing. Clear? So we have, before the hashing, we have prepared our whole block for the hashing. Clear? Now next step, step number 3, is divide the input into 512-bit block. So whatever we need to hash, all the data, that means this data, now we will divide this data into the block of 512 bits. So whole our data will be divided into the 512 bits. So this will be our block 1, this will be block 2, block 3, block 4, and we will have a block n. Now the output of the block 1 will be the input of the block 2. Clear? And the output of the block 2 will be the input of the block 3, and output of the block 3 will be the input of the block 4, and the last output will be our hash value. Clear? Now next step is initialize the changing variable. Now here you can see that for block 2 we are taking the input as the output of the block 2. So output of the block 1 will be the input of the block 2. So we need to take some input here also. For that input we have a predefined value that is called as a initialize, that is called as a chaining variables. Clear? So for that initialization, or for that first step to take the input in the block 1, we have 5 variables that is called as a, b, c, d, and e, and they have predefined fixed values. So for the a, it is hexadecimal 67452301. For the b, it is e, f, c, d, a, b89. So you do not need to remember this, but we have you need to remember that we have 5 fixed uh, chaining variables. So that is the step number 4. Now we will take the first 512-bit block. So we will take this block only. Clear? We will take this block. We will identify the we will perform the hashing, and the output of that block will be the input of this block 2. Clear? Now you can see here we have 5 variables. That means it is the hexadecimal. So the size of this will be a 32-bit. Size of the B will be a 32-bit. Size of the C will be a 32-bit. D will be a 32-bit, and E will be a 32-bit. So total size of A to E will be a 160-bit. Clear? So we take the input as a 160-bit and we will get the output as a 160-bit. So we will take the input in block 1 as a 160-bit. The output of the block 1 will be a 160-bit, and that one output of block 1 will be go to the input in the block 2. Then output of the block 2 will be again a 160 bits, and it will goes into a input in the block 3, 160 bit. Now the last output from the block n, that is 160 bit, will be our final hash value. Clear? Now we will take the first block. We will take the first block. So this is our first 512-bit block, and we will divide this block into a 32-bit words. Clear? Now we will take the word 0 as a 32-bit, word 1 32-bit, word 2 32-bit. So it will be total 16 words from word 0 to word 15. Clear? So we have taken first 512-bit block. We will divide this block into a 16 words. But to process the uh, uh, but in the process block we required 80 blocks. Clear? So we have 15 block, we have 16 blocks here. So we divide the 512-bit block into word 0, word 1, word 2, word 3, and last we will have the word 15, that is the block number 16. Now we need 80, total 80 blocks. So word 0 to word 79. So how we will identify the word 16, 17, 18 to 79? So this is the process given here. We need to extend to a 80 blocks up to word 79. Clear? So we need to convert this 512-bit block into a 2560 bits. Clear? So our initial size of the block will be a 512-bit, but the final block will be a 2560 bit. Clear? So we already have the 16 words, but we need 80 words, that is up to word 79. So from 16 to 79, this is the formula to identify the next words. So for word 17, so this is the T. So for T, for the 16 to 79. So for word 17, what we will do is we will take word 17 minus 3, that means 14. We will take the 14 XOR word 17 minus 8 XOR word 17 minus 14 XOR word 17 minus 16, that we will identify, and we will do the left shift of one bit to identify that particular bit. So this will help us to uh, identify the word 17. Same procedure will be done for the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 up to 79. So we will convert our this 512 bit block into a 2560 bit block. Clear? So that is the next step. Now after that, we will take these 32 bit in the function, and our output will be a 160 bit. Now this is our final block. So you can see here A, B, C, D, E. So this is the predefined value that has been discussed earlier. So we have predefined value. So A, B, C, D, E. For the first block we have fixed value, and for the next block the output of the this process block will be the input into the next block. So you can see here various operations. So this is the left shift of 5. So you can see here shift of n denotes the left bit rotation by the n places. Then here left shift of bits 30, so it will do the 30 bit rotation to left shift. Now this is the addition, so we will perform the addition modulo 232. So addition denotes addition modulo 232. Clear? Now this is the A, B, C, D, E. The size of A will be a 32 bit, size of B will be a 32 bit, 32 bit, 32 bit, and 32 bit. Clear? So first A will be go to the B. Now again what we will perform for the same block A, you can see here we will perform the uh, left 5 bit rotation, and we will perform the addition of addition with this E. So you can see here this A will be a B. Now for B, if you perform the left shift rotation to a 30 bit, will output to the C. Now for the C, you can see here C will directly become D, and D will directly become E. Clear? Now the major process is E to A. Now how to perform E to A? First of all, we will take the E, then we will take the B, C, D, and we'll perform some function here. Clear? We will perform some function here, and that addition of the output of this function and the E will be performed. Next step, for this output, the left shift rotation of 5 bit will be performed to the A, and the output and this A, again we will do the addition. Now next output, we will take the next output and we will take the WT. That means first, for the first block we will take the W0. Clear? We will take first the W0. Now after performing the addition of WT and this output, we will take the output and we will again perform the addition of output and KT. We will see what is the KT, and that final output will be a A. Now this A, B, C, D, E will be in the next step. Clear? So here we will use for in the first operation we will take the W0. In the second operation we will take the W1. In the third operation we will take the W3, then W4, W5 up to W79. So that is why the process block will be executed for the 80 rounds, 0 to 79. Clear? Now we will see what is the F that is performed with the B, C, and D, and what is the value of the K. So you can see here for the round 0 to 19, the KT will be a 5A927999. So this is the hexadecimal. So for the round 1, the value of the kt will be this. So up to the round 0 to 19, the value of the kt will be this. So how this value has been identified? So it is the 2 raised to 30 into square root of 2. So that will give us the this hexadecimal value. And what is the function? So for the round 0 to 19, this function will be executed. So this is the this function for the b, c and d, and this is the kt. So it is not mandatory to remember this, the value of kt and function k, but you need to remember this process block. Clear? So for the first round we will take the w0, so this is w0. For the second round we will take the w1. So for the first round we will take the w0, so the value of the w0 will be a first 32 block, and the value of the kt will be 5a927999, and this function will be b and c or not b and d. So this function will be used. Clear? So for 0 to 19 we will use the one value, first value of kt. For 20 to 39 we will use the second value of kt. For 40 to 59 we will use the third value of kt, and for the 60 to 79 we will use the last value of kt. So this is the fixed values, and this is the function from which we identify the value of kt. And these are the function for the first 0 to 19, b and c or not b and d will be performed. For the 20 to 39, b xor c xor d will be performed. For 40 to 59, b and c or b and d or c and d will be performed. And for 60 to 79, b xor c xor d will be performed. Clear? So this is how the SHA1 will work. So for the first word 0, we will perform the 80 operation from 0 to 79. After 80 operation, we will get the output. That output will be go to the word 1. That output will be go to the word 2, and again word 3 up to word 15, and this goes to the word 16, 17, 18 up to word 79. Now output of that word 79 will be goes to the input in block 2. Again block 2 will be divided in these words, and that output will be input of the sub block 1. Again word 0, word 1, word 2, word 3, word 4, and word 79 will be a give you output of the second block. Now that output of the second block will be goes into the output of the input of the block 3. And the last, for the last block, for the last round, last a to e, that is last for the last 512 bit block, and for the last word 79 of the 512 bit block will give you output. So last operation for the last block will give you hash value. So this is the abcde will be your hash value. So last round a to e is the your final digest. So this is how the SHA1 algorithm will work. It is little bit complicated, but no need to remember these values for the kts or the functions, and no need to remember these values also, but you need to remember this padding, how to do a padding, then uh, how to divide the data into the 512 bit block, and how to divide the 512 bit block into a word 780 total 80 words. So we have word 0 to word 15, we already have 16 words, but to perform to identify the value for the word 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 up to 79, this is the function. This you need to remember, and this process block need to be remember. So this was all about our working of the SHA1. I hope you did understand all the concept that has been discussed in this video lecture. Thank you so much.